أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. وعن أبي هريرة أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: وفي الركاز فالخمس. So Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu reported the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said that there is a fifth paid to Zakat in what is considered a treasure, that is rikaz. Inshallah, we'll talk about it in a second. وعن عمرو بن شعيب عن أبيه عن جده من جده يطلع
عبد الله بن عمرو بن العاص
جزاك الله خيرا أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال في كنز وجده رجل في خربة: إن وجدته في قرية مسكونة فعرفه، وإن وجدته في قرية غير مسكونة ففيه وفي الركاز الخمس. So Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As reported the Prophet ﷺ ruled for a man who found a treasure in an abandoned village. He said, if you find it in a village that is inhabited, meaning there is people in it, that the treasure belongs to someone normally, right? He said, then you have to announce for it. We'll talk about the rules inshallah in a second. And if you find it in an abandoned village, then you take it after you pay a fifth of it, meaning 20% of it, in zakah. وعن بلال بن الحارث أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أخذ من المعادن القبلية الصدقة. So Bilal also, the Prophet ﷺ took from the minerals, that's silver and gold, find that's in an area close to Medina. He took the zakah from it. So what is meant by rikaz, the treasure, these are the treasures that belong to the pre-Islamic era during the Jahiliyyah. So if someone finds it, then you have to pay 20% of it. That was the rule during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. So a fifth of it goes to zakah. Some scholars says this is just like the fay and the ghanima, the booties of the war, you pay a fifth of it. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّمَا غَنِمْتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَأَنَّ لِلَّهِ خُمُسَهُ وَلِلرَّسُولِ وَذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينِ وَمَا أَفَاءَ اللَّهُ عَلَى رَسُولِهِ, same thing. So, and it's paid also to what's ghanima and fay. And some people say it is just like the zakah. So what happens now if someone finds like a treasure like gold or money in their, in the land they buy? So the Prophet ﷺ, so if it belongs to a town where their people are, so let's say someone buys a piece of land that it belonged to the person before, so that the treasure probably belongs to the person before, right? So normally you have to apply the rules of what we call the luqata, the lost and found, basically. So you have to announce for it. And the way you announce for it is you declare it in a way that is people would know. So enough. So now you put it on social media, you put it on WhatsApp group. In the olden days, they would say the first week you would announce for twice in a public place. After the first week, once a week, and then once or twice a month for the whole year. And after that, if no one claims it, you own it, مع الضمان, meaning if the person who belongs to it comes back, then you have to pay back. Is that clear? Now, if someone, so these are simple rules, but if someone finds in a piece of land they have, and this happens, right? You can buy a farm and there is oil now in your backyard. So what happens? So here in Texas, they pay you royalties. You cannot just, have a rig and produce your oil. So normally they pay you what, like $2,000 or $3,000 a month royalties, depending on how many rigs you have. But per rig, this is how much they pay you. So that's basically, you don't pay a fifth of it, 20% of it. That has become an income, right? It's a passive income, and you just pay the 2.5% zakat. According to Madhab al-Imam Malik, just to sum it up, he says, they say that these actually ma'adan or minerals or treasures don't belong to a person. They belong to the community. It's a communal property. It does not belong to any person per se, right? So it should go to where? To the treasury, to Baytul Mal al-Muslimin. So this way you don't have to worry about anything. And that's what happens, subhanAllah, here in the United States, there are rules. If you find oil in your farm, you can own it actually. But in our countries, overseas, you don't own anything. It goes automatically to the government. That's only because they want to make it easy for you, so you don't have to worry about zakat and how much you pay. So they just claim it for themselves. But it is not uncommon, actually. A lot of people would find, even the scholars in the past, according to the Hanafis and the Shafi'is, they said these rules apply only to silver and gold, but they don't apply to other liquid minerals, because enough of the oil was known at that time, but they didn't realize it's going to be gold, black gold. But this is basically becomes a national resource. It's ثروة وطنية, right? It's a national resource, and it cannot just be owned or possessed by one person. And that's wallahu a'lam what is more applicable to our time. So the second thing, which is something practical also, if you live in Jordan, or if you live in Syria, or you live in... People used to go and dig for the treasures, like the Roman treasures and these historical treasures. And a lot of people do find these things. So what do you do for that? And that's, contemporary scholars, they say, this is not a treasure anymore. This is also a national resource. You're talking about a human civilization. So if you want to apply the rules that, you take 20% of it, you're taking 20% of a historical piece that is found, right? So that belongs also to the treasury and belongs to the government. Is that clear?
Stop digging.
Stop digging. That was a huge business in our countries, by the way. People will dedicate their lives just for digging and trying to find some treasury and some piece of ruins. And some people do find, actually, but again, that's you're talking about the human civilization now. You're talking about history, and no one should own it. That person should be maybe compensated, yani, the value, but these things are invaluable anymore. I mean, especially now if you're talking about the stolen pieces, and no one can say, okay, I found it, then I can claim it.
What about diving for treasures of
Titanic.
sunken ships and stuff like that? Same apply?
It's international water.
That's a very good question.
I mean, practically, there are already each country that these are its water zones already have rules about that. So you
They
have
take
to follow
percentage.
You have a certain amount of mileage off the land, but inside it's international waters.
So, if in that case, if it's not claimed by any person, خلاص, you claim it and you pay 20% of it. If that's allowed by law, But if there are things, that's considered, the ship is owned by a government, let's say, and, or it's owned by a company, then it's their property. And here, you should be paid for the effort. Unless they say, okay, now it is yours, finders, keepers. So that becomes a different rule.
عندي سؤال ممكن. في اليمن اليوم الماء يباع ماء صالح للشرب، وفي بعض الأحيان أحدهم يشتري بيتا فيجد فيه أو يحفر فيه بئرا يكون ماء صالح للشرب فيبدأ ببيعه، وتحصل الخلافات بين صاحب البيت القديم واللي اشتراه. فهل هذا يدخل ضمن الركاز يعني؟
That's not ركاز. الماء ليس بركاز. الركاز only applies for currency, for silver, for gold, for minerals. Because the rikaz is something basically مبخوص في الأرض. It's part of the land. The water is totally different thing. The water does not apply as rikaz. Its value might be a treasure, but the rules of the treasure does not apply to that water.
But are you allowed to sell it and buy it? Water?
Yeah.
You can.
So that would be part of your income, or that's going to be zakatul?
The revenue you collected from selling it, that's zakatable. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Doctor, just to go back to the عروض التجارة, a car dealer at the end of the year, he will pay 2.5% of the market value of the cars that he has on the lot, right?
Right.
And then he would subtract the annual expenses like the electricity,
The
employment,
rent for the shop, the lot,
the salary of the employees,
everything goes,
subtracted from that.
subtract all the expenses.
But nothing on the big lot that he has, no zakat on the lot,
No, the lot is not
the
zakatable.
building, the computer is
No,
nothing.
because that is used, right? So that's
Strictly the cars that are
what
for
you
sale.
sell, what you're going to sell.
Generally speaking, most of these dealerships are trying to sell you the same year's model. So most of the time they're selling the cars within the year. ما بيكون how.
If it's a used car, for example, that's different.
Because, but what I'm saying is that if you want to actually connect the value of the new cars that they have in the lot, then they shut down. It is,
So you're saying that he might not pay any zakat?
if he manages to sell within, I'm saying but asking at the same time, most of the cars will be sold within the year because
That applies probably to used cars because the new cars, the way it works, they don't own these cars. The dealership, brings these cars from the factory let's say the season when they sell car Christmas, right? So they started bringing them in June, July, and whatever sells, sells. Whatever does not sell, they ship them back, right? So if someone, let's say, he buys and they own the cars, yeah, I mean, that's more for used cars because they sit on the lot for a long time and you own the.
So it becomes like more like an income.
Hatta there is even a quota
Yeah.
from the manufacturer. Like a dealership cannot have whatever number of cars they
Right,
want.
exactly, because they give you 3 of this model, 3 of this model, a few things. But the general rule, yes, let's say
Sure.
someone owns them, you only pay on what you have on the lot and what you own, obviously, and after subtracting the expenses of the.
And same would
The
apply
business.
to the grocery, right?
That's exactly right.
Only the produce that he is selling.
Exactly.
Nothing for the refrigerators. Nothing for the.
Not the refrigerators, not the storage, not the shelves, not the software, the computers, all the equipment that you have in the store.
Very good. Jazakumullah khair.
I also have a follow-up question for last week. We were talking about if you
Jewelry.
no on houses this time. You said if you buy a house and you rent it, you don't pay zakat on the house. Is that also true if that's my business? If I buy 10 houses and I rent them out, I don't pay zakat on the value of those 10 houses?
If they're meant to be for rent, that's how it works. If the moment you change your mind and now I'm gonna put it in the market, now it becomes urud tijara and you pay at that time.
Okay. So that's an easy way of not paying zakat, right? You just buy houses and rent them out and you
It's
don't
not
pay.
an easy way. It's not evading zakat. Yani, this is the way it works. Yani, the zakat is only on the man that is growing. If it's a frozen asset, basically, that's what it becomes. You pay on the revenue now. Because yani, the zakat is about being fair to the one who's paying zakat and the one who's receiving zakat. In this case, if you're not truly, yani, you're already paying on the income generated from the zakat, right? And cannot pay zakat again on the asset itself when it is not, yani, for sale actively.
It's not frozen money. You spent it in buying the property.
Right.
So it already went into the market.
Okay.
The rules are to prevent the freezing of
If you
money.
want to just get it, I want to sell it after 5 years. For example, this is the intention. Do you pay annually on the price? Let's say, have the house, you're not planning actually to use it, you plan for trade, but you don't plan to sell it now. I want to sell it, let's say, in 5 years. Do you pay
Yes.
annual zakat?
Yes, that's for sale.
It's an investment.
It's an
You
investment.
want an
Exactly.
investment.
But I mean, you pay not at the time of the sale, you pay annually on the.
Right.
Wait, so how
You're
would
sitting on it waiting for it to grow in value.
But it may, so, but you pay, you appraise it annually.
Right.
So you'll be paying 2.5% every year, again and again and again.
wait? So, but if you lease it, like lease it to a person that like gets
يعني
grass, or
إحنا ضلنا على
lease it to the
inflation.
person that puts cow. Oh, sorry.
واحد.
Sorry. So if you lease the land, like to like the government, you lease the land, you put cows, you put you collect the hay. Does that involve like you pay the after that if you lease the land?
No, you just pay on the whatever
So it's
revenue you gain from.
It's like the same laws that are here, kind of.
Yeah.
What about the cow itself?
Well, that's a different thing. If you have a nisab, then يعني, we have not talked about the livestock yet. That's coming, inshallah. Yeah. If you have a cow, because the rules is what? Like you have to have one cow per how many acres?
1 acre.
One cow per acre, right? Yeah.
That's like that's the max maximum. Like if you have 5 acres, you can have more than 5 cows in Texas.
No, but I mean for tax exemption, you have to have a minimum, right?
No, it's the opposite. So like I think so because you can have. So the whole idea is like you don't want to put too less of land for a cow. So if you put like if you have 5 acres and you have 10 cows, the cows are gonna starve. So you have to have a minimum of 5.
Yeah, no, but there are rules
In order to
qualify
keep
for
it
the
to-
exemption. You
to-
cannot buy a 100-acre property and put one cow and say, okay, this is a
I
farm.
understand.
You have to have a minimum per acre.
Okay.
Yeah.
For tax purposes.
Yeah.
Uh,
I understand.
I'll look it up, inshallah.
I don't know, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there is a trick to it, actually. Yeah. But inshallah, we'll be talking about livestock.
يعني هسه النفط ليس من الركاز، معاملته معاملة الماء، لأنه لو تتبعنا كلمة الركاز معها كلمة أخرى، الركاز والمعادن،
نعم.
ركاز المعادن.
That's what we mentioned. According to the Hanafi, they say only what's metal, يعني الصلب ما كان مصكوك يعني مطبوع. عند الأحناف. الشافعية have similar rules. الحنابلة قالوا it doesn't matter. And that's الله أعلم more applicable. لأنه this is يعني النفط has more value than anything else.
لأنه هو ذهب أسود.
نعم. فقول الحنابلة هو الأكثر عملية وصحة يعني.